Welcome back to Kearsarge Valley Magazine. Again, coming to you from Clarke's Hardware in New London. We're in the paint department. Now, last week we talked about getting the wallpaper off the wall. This week we're going to talk about painting that wall that we just took the wallpaper down with. So let's first start off with, what do we do first? I know that you had mentioned that when the other stuff worked really good to get all the wallpaper off, but sometimes you don't know that it looks like you got it all off, but there may be some paste left over, the actual adhesive that keeps the wallpaper up. How do we get that off?
What you're going to do at that point is, yes, you have to make sure that you get all that wallpaper paste off. Paint will not cling to old wallpaper paste.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take the wallpaper paste remover again. We're going to mix up a solution of that, and we're going to wash those walls real well with this to make sure that we get that excess glue off of there.
Now, is that something that afterwards you can kind of run your hand over the wall and feel if you've gotten it all off? If it's pretty smooth, that's a pretty good indicator that you don't need to scrub anymore?
If you got smooth and you don't feel any bumps, you're in pretty good shape at that point.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
And if you do happen to get started painting and you find the paint's not sticking, then there's still some there you got to get off.
Blame it on somebody else.
Blame it on somebody else, absolutely.
And then take it off with some of this.
Right.
Now, my wife actually is a painter. She paints nurseries, she paints like Peter Pan and Dr. Seuss and that kind of stuff. So I, from her knowledge, understand the importance of paint prepping your walls for the proper paint.
Right.
And what a lot of people don't know is that you need to primer the wall with just a white base coat and not just, stick up some red on a green wall, right?
Okay, let's back up just a second here before we get to priming, because we still got something else to talk about, and that would be, what do you do with the wall that hasn't been wallpapered, that's just sitting there that you want to paint? Okay.
Yeah. We've all had that.
You got to wash that wall in order for the paint to have any success at all.
See, that's why I skipped over it, because it involves washing the wall.
Washing the wall again.
Okay.
Point being, you remember how when you wash your windows in the spring, on the inside, you get all that gunk?
Yep.
Well, guess what? When was the last time you washed your walls?
Probably never.
All that stuff is built up on your wall.
Okay.
Okay? So what you're going to use is something like a trisodium phosphate mixed up with water to wash those walls off very well. Something like Spick and Span works well.
You said this is kind of a heavier, dutier version of that.
That's a heavier duty version.
Okay.
What you're looking for is a product that does not leave a residue behind.
So like you said, like Spick and Span.
Those two will do good.
Okay, so for somebody who upkeeps their house and does normal cleaning, you can use a Spick and Span. If I'm painting one of my walls, which I never clean, I'm going to need to probably go with the heavy duty stuff, correct?
And in either case, even though they do not leave a residue, you do need to do a final rinse. Okay. Then before you go to the primer, you need to make sure that that wall has had an ample opportunity to dry.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
At that point, you can go tape off those areas around the trim, the windows, etc., that you don't want to get paint on.
And this is something that if people watch the home improvement shows or Trading Spaces or something like that on TLC, they see this a lot. This is blue painter's tape. You don't want to use like your regular Scotch tape. They actually make a tape specifically for painting, correct? Right.
That is true. The blue painter's tape is an easier release than regular masking tape.
Yep.
Because of temperatures, you can find that any masking tape, whether it's the blue or the standard or whatever, may have difficulty coming off.
Okay.
Easy way when you get ready, when you finish painting and you want to take that stuff off, if you're having trouble, get Mama's hair dryer, heat it up a little bit, and it'll peel right off.
Perfect. That's a nice little tip.
Okay, once we've gotten taped up, washed off, ready to go, then it's a question of what primer do you really want to use, and there are a variety of them out there.
Okay.
If you're just going over something, for instance, the wall we have just taken the wallpaper off of, you can just go with an enamel undercoater as a primer. Okay. That will work very well.
And that's just your standard primer?
Standard primer.
No bells or whistles?
No bells, no whistles. If you're going over in a brand new wall, there is one that we have available from Ace that is a drywall primer, which is for bare drywall.
So that's for somebody who either has an addition built or maybe moving into a new house. When you get in there and everything's white, you want to use that specific drywall primer for that. For that part.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you happen to have a room that you have had little children running around in drawing pictures on your walls.
Never.
Okay?
Never.
Then you want to go something like the Ace Stain Halt, which will block those things from bleeding through.
So you don't even have to wash them off first. You can just, or whatever won't wash off, that will take care of it. Oh, okay.
Right. If you're going into a room that has a dark color on it right now, and you want to change to a lighter color, you need to prime.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that dark color is going to bleed through your lighter color.
Yeah.
That would be a good product to use for that, the Stain Halt. Okay. The opposite direction of that, if you want to go to a darker color from a lighter color, you need to pick up a primer that is tinted toward the color you want to go to.
Ah, okay.
If you want to go from a white to a deep maroon, you really need to have a primer underneath that that's tinted to that color.
Now that's good to know, because I wouldn't really think of that. You'd think that if a wall's white, it's kind of like a blank canvas and you can paint whatever you want on there, but it would make it lighter than your original color if you didn't have something underneath there.
And you'll wind up putting on 6 coats instead of 2.
Now, can you do that here? If somebody came in and gave you the color, you just drop a little bit in there with the primer and tint it up for them?
We can. We do have a specialty primer from Ace that allows us to tint to almost the color that you want to put on the wall.
Excellent, excellent.
Which helps greatly.
Okay.
Okay. The final step is, keep in mind, this sounds like a lot of work. Yes, it is. 90% of the job is preparation to get it done right.
All right, John, thanks a lot for joining us once again. Stick with us. Next week, we'll have another segment from Clarke's Hardware where John will lay some knowledge on us. Thanks a lot.